shit. Here we go again.
Welcome out to this episode of Outbreak Gamers. I'm your host, David Anthony, aka WebDave. That's my gamer tag, so you can find me there all over all the platforms and all that kind of good stuff. Plus, we'll have the information down in the show notes. And I am very pleased to have with us tonight the one and only Psychonauts. Psychonauts, how you doing, buddy?
Good, man. It's great to be here. Thanks for having me, man.
Oh, dude, I've been wanting to have you on for a while. It's one of those things where you just kind of play it out there and we kind of see when we can work it out. And we were lucky enough to be able to get to it tonight, so I really appreciate your time. I don't ever take for granted somebody's time because it is definitely appreciated. So again, thanks for being here. Let's jump right into it, man. Let's I guess to find out just a little bit about you as far as like so what kind of like maybe like jobs or things like that did you start off with? I mean, you were obviously a little psychonauts at one time. Everybody starts somewhere, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, really, I've had so many different jobs growing up. I mean, back 12 years old, being a paper boy, and then being a pizza delivery guy in like the late 2000s. And just some, even like, I was at the graduating from high school, I was a busboy for Outback. I think that was one of my favorite jobs.
Nice.
It was 50% off for the food at
Ooh.
Outback. So it was like, that stuff's a little pricey, so that made it sweet. But yeah, I mean, after that, I actually went to a technical school, got my education in automotive. So I'm able to I'm a technician pretty much. Haven't done it in such a long time, but I tweaked cars on my own time. So
Nice.
other than that, yeah. So and then really after that, I moved back. So that was in Florida when I went to college or technical school,
Mm-hmm.
and then moved back to Ohio. Got into the steel industry and was slitting steel and then stamping steel and then slitting copper and aluminum. Those jobs are very interesting.
Oh man, but that's tough though.
It's very physical
Mm-hmm.
lifting. I mean, you're lifting coils from I was on, they called it light gauge, which is copper and aluminum, but
Mm-hmm.
I mean, some of those coils, I mean, they range from 30 to 300 pounds, and we had to lift them off these carousels and lay them down, and
Right.
it was a mother, and definitely
Imagine.
backbreaking work.
Yeah. Oh, I would imagine. So yeah, and then I
So,
guess steel can be really hot too, man. You gotta be.
oh yeah, it was very
Yeah.
hot in there. So it was not the best prime conditions of be working, but the pay was nice. And
Oh yeah.
then and then the pandemic hit, and then was laid off, and then just never was the same, and got back to work because the job that I was working at, they closed the shop because they couldn't afford to start back up because everything, no one wanted to go back to work, and
Right.
it was just insane. So went into got this other job that did working at a furnace where we made automotive parts, and holy crap, that
Mhm.
was backbreaking, and it it was just not working out, and push comes to shove, I was just like, I just couldn't deal with it anymore, and got let go, and then moved to Florida because that's where the rest of my family is, and here I
Right.
am now, just doing
Nice.
and I'm just doing the little like Uber Eats that surprisingly pays pretty damn decent.
That's what
So
I hear. If you can, if you can get the right, get a good groove and a good section of town or whatever to work, then
oh
that
yeah,
can it can actually work to your benefit. Especially once you, a lot of customers that are a lot of repeats. I'm sure. Once
Oh
you
yeah,
know, you're like, oh man, I remember this guy. Boom, boom,
yeah.
boom. You know, you're in and out, and there you go, on to the next, and more money for you. So yeah, that's dude. That's that's a good. There's nothing to be ashamed about that. That's a good job. So and even like the steel stuff, man. I mean, labor. Oh my gosh, man. I got a cousin that worked in a steel mill, and I mean, literally they melt the steel and pour it into these
Oh,
certain
okay.
molds. So it was like,
Yeah.
oh my god, so hot. He'd come out here, he'd just be like just a sweat ball. But yet they paid him a hell of a lot of money.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So
Those guys got paid buku bucks.
yeah,
I know that.
exactly. It's one of those things where it's like, God bless you. I'm glad that people can do that kind of stuff. I don't
Hmm.
I don't physically think I could personally. I'm just a big fat ugly guy. But and sometimes you think your life's going to go one way, and you just for whatever opportunities or tragedies or just life in general happens, and then you just kind of get on a different course. You know,
Yeah.
so it's one of those things. So I know I was in. I'd always wanted to be in radio, and I'd done like some college radio, and I finally got a job at a local radio station. It was actually pretty good. They're the Cromwell Group. They're pretty decent on this, on the tri-state area as far as the size go. But I mean, they're basically local radio, so it was a lot of fun, great concerts, all that kind of stuff, and the pay was decent. But then 5 years of that, and I was like, ooh, this is a lot of weekends, salary, and not quite in a financial place where I want to be. And I got the
Hmm.
opportunity to work at GameStop. I thought, GameStop, why would I want to do that? The guy was like, well, this is what you get paid. I was like, I'll take it. It
Yeah.
was literally twice as much as what I was making working for radio. I was just like, this is crazy. So yeah.
Mm.
So you just
I
never know what opportunities open. I did that for 12 years. So
Oh wow, yeah. I did work at EB Games, and then they
yeah.
got bought out by GameStop. That was like
Yep.
when I was here living in Florida. That was during the 360 era.
Oh, that's nice.
The
That's
launch of
nice.
the 360, and I remember this one time
Mhm.
during the launch in our GameStop here in Florida. Someone knew how many we had,
Oh,
and we were in this plaza, and the store next to us, both sides, were empty. So they broke into the closed down store because there's no alarm, there's nothing in there,
right.
and just went through the wall and grabbed all of, I think there was 50 premium Xboxes and 20 cores,
Oh God.
because they have the two SKUs, and
Yeah.
grabbed every single one. And surprisingly enough, Microsoft was able to send more to replenish those. But yeah,
Wow.
it was insane.
Well, and the one thing about that that was always good, if you had something like that, at least when I worked for them, was like, because we would like record their serial numbers as they'd come in the shipment to the store.
Yeah.
So those kind of things, so we could go to them or whoever and be like, here's the serial numbers. So when they activated them or tried to activate them, they're like, oh, this was a stolen system. Yeah, I'm not able to
Mhm.
activate that one.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so that was always cool. So even had the system to where like if somebody tried to trade in one that was on those not active list, it would automatically come
Mhm.
up and say, this system is unable to reach or to be used on Xbox Live, so it's ineligible to be purchased or traded in.
Yes.
Yeah, there
we
you
had
go.
we had a lot of those when people got banned from Call of Duty.
Yeah, exactly. That too. Too funny. So see, man, we're kindred spirits right there. Awesome. So I guess let's since we're kind of talking about gaming a little bit, let's talk about your first like gaming experience. Was it a console? Was it a PC? Was it arcade? How'd you start off
Oh,
gaming, man?
so what started me gaming was actually my mom. She bought an Atari 2600.
Oh, right there.
Yep. And so
Nice.
I would say my when I could remember, I was 4 or 5 years old, remembering, watching my mom and my uncle play the whatever, the Atari, Galaga and
Mm-hmm.
Pac-Man and stuff. And so I think it was about 5, almost. It was right before school, so it was like when I was 5, when I actually started playing like Centipede and things like that. I was never good, but I was a little 5-year-old kid. But
Yeah.
that's what started, um, and then for Christmas in '87, because '86, I think Nintendo were all sold out. So I got an NES in '87.
Nice.
And that was insane. We had Super Mario Brother Duck Hunt combo, of course, and Ninja Gaiden was the other game.
Nice.
And that game was fucking hard.
Oh yeah, love it.
Oh
Those.
my god. And I was a little kid. I was like, yeah, I'm not good. But I mean, I had a blast. That's really what started the gaming passion was the NES.
Yeah.
Starting from there and just ramped up from there.
Oh, you could almost say the Ninja Gaiden games were kind of the first Souls games.
Oh,
it was super hard. You're right.
yes, they definitely were. It was. I mean, that's how they were. I mean, you had only 3 lives, and you had to beat the whole entire game with those 3 lives, or if you found 1-ups and whatever else extra lives throughout the game. But
And,
yeah, they were.
wasn't many of them either, if I remember.
In Ninja Gaiden, not as much, not as much.
Yeah. So what? Where did you head in your gaming after that?
So with that, we went to the Genesis, because my buddies had the Sega Master System, and then when the Genesis was announced, we're like, oh my god, yes, this is 16-bit. Let's do this, So that was my next venture, and then from there, I became a Sega fanboy. I was a Sega kid since then. We had Super Nintendo after the fact, just for some games. But majority of my time spent was on Sega Genesis.
Oh yeah, I loved the Sega Genesis, man. I loved it.
Oh yeah. Oh, and those commercials were fantastic.
Yeah.
Because they were more for they were edgier than Nintendo's. Like Sega does what Nintendo don't. Things like just straight, trash talking. That was like
yeah. The first kind of trash talking for gaming. Is that where it all started?
Pretty much.
I agree with that. Yep.
And then since then it was like the Sega Saturn. That was a horrible mistake. I love the system, loved it.
Yeah.
But it killed itself with the dual processor, and it's like, what were they thinking with that?
Yeah.
I don't know. And then we actually got a TurboGrafx 16.
Ooh, nice.
And we had a couple games for that, and then we went with TurboGrafx. Then we had brother got a 64, Nintendo 64, and then after the 64, we never touched the first PlayStation growing up. But he got a PS2 when that was coming out, and then after that, I think I kind of stopped playing. I kind of stopped gaming. I was like doing other things. I was going to concerts and hanging out with friends, and being a teenager, and and then the Dreamcast came about, and heard about it had online multiplayer. That was like and a bunch of my buddies, like, I loved being a Sega kid. I was like, hey, what, let me get, and I grabbed a Dreamcast, and that was to me till this day is probably still one of the best consoles.
I agree with that for sure.
The games that were on there were phenomenal, and there's still nothing better than the Marvel vs. Capcom 2 port for Dreamcast, because it was a straight port from arcade, and it
Perfect,
wasn't.
wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. That was like the two versions. If you're going to play, was this Dreamcast version or the arcade version, and that
Mhm.
was it. Everything else did not feel the same.
Yep. I
I
agree with
don't.
that 100%.
So and that was like,
Go ahead.
yeah, that was the thing that was like awesome. Like growing up and having competitions within amongst friends with Marvel vs. Capcom 2. It was just great. It was great.
Oh, yeah, definitely, man. Definitely. What kinda what was your favorite character in that, if you can remember?
I was definitely like a Wolverine Strider, um, or was it King Tut and
Mm.
um, I wanted to say Mega Man.
Yeah,
No,
that
War
was
Machine. It was War
Oh, yeah.
Machine and King Tut, and so it was just like different combos, depending on what you
Oh,
wanted.
yeah. Yeah, well, and depending on what the other guy picked too, sometimes it was like, "Ooh,
Yeah, exactly.
I can't beat this with this. I'm gonna have to get something else." I know
Yeah.
exactly what you're talking about. I used to love Soul Calibur. For that when that came out for the
Yes.
Dreamcast, I was like, there is not a better game on this planet at that time. And it had the what they call the demo mode where you
Mhm.
could actually go in and pick a character, and for like a minute, they would just sit there and do all the digital animation, all the motion capture that they had, and the camera would just kind of spin around them as they were just doing all these cool moves and stuff. And I was just like, I would literally just pick a character and watch it for like a half hour and then go to another character and watch it. All silly as that sounds now, but then at the time it was like, this is so awesome. It was cool.
Oh yeah, Soul Calibur was. I've played so many hours of that game, and especially when because the arcade got games first,
Mm-hmm.
and then they came to console. So like when Soul Calibur 2 came out, I don't know how many rolls of quarters I spent on that game, and then it came out on the Dreamcast. I was like, yes,
Yeah.
save some money.
I liked it too that they had well, I think Soul Calibur 2 was the one that was like depending on what system you had is to you had like a bonus character, like the Xbox was like Spawn
Yeah,
and,
so
and just go ahead.
yeah, that was like that was later with when Xbox, PlayStation 2, and the GameCube,
GameCube. Yeah, yeah. Yep.
and so they did uh so they brought that to the new consoles,
Mm-hmm.
and they in the so and the best thing was like it was back then it was funny because he's like, all right, you had Xbox, you had Spawn, you had
Mm-hmm.
Nintendo, you had Link,
Yeah.
uh and then for PlayStation, I never could remember the guy's name, but I just call him the guy in the diaper. That's
Yeah,
all.
the Tekken guy, wasn't he from
Yeah,
Tekken?
Tekken.
Tekken Tag or something?
I,
Yeah.
yeah, I forgot what his name was, but I
I,
always called him
I couldn't
the
tell
diaper
you
guy. I was like the diaper guy.
either. That's funny. That's funny. Yeah, it's just that gaming to me is so much fun, and obviously, I mean, you said you have your brother used to play and stuff too, so I guess it was something you used to probably get in and play with the family some, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. So we always played together, me and my brother, until I'm of course moved to Florida.
Mm-hmm.
But before then, we always played together. He was either GoldenEye on the 64, um, or with the PS2 wasn't so much because they didn't have a lot of multiplayer games, but we did play some SOCOM, things like that. But and that was like when games were great. Sony was bringing out whole just uh, genre defining games, and they were changing it up. It was not you know their cookie cutter model they have right now. So,
Right.
but that's the thing with me on Xbox when after the Dreamcast, when Sony pretty much tried to kill them,
Mm-hmm.
uh, Xbox came out, and that's what actually got me seeing all those Sega games going on the Xbox. That's what brought me over to the Xbox. It was it wasn't Halo. I didn't know what Halo was. No one did,
Mm-hmm.
but it
Right.
was the Sega games that brought me there. I once I played Halo put the got my passion back in gaming as it like I was when I was younger. Like I was like, holy crap, this game is crazy, and I would go to LAN parties on the weekends, and that stuff is like not heard of. I mean, when Halo LAN parties were in the early 2000s were the thing to do.
Hell yes, they were. Yep.
You know, because PC guys had the LAN parties, and you know, for I think it was, what is it, DOA? I think it was back on PC, so I think it was like the first DOA, and I think Warcraft, but it was like, you know, that was like the only time you heard LAN parties. It was PC.
Yeah.
It was, and then when Halo came out, and then it was like, LAN party, what's that? What, you can link up your console within so you can play 4-player co-op on 4 different, like, what? You could do this? Let's do this. And it was phenomenal.
Yeah, I remember a couple of nights. I can't get fired for it now. After our store was closed, we would all a bunch of us would meet there, employees and stuff would meet at the store, and you know, of course, we had a bunch of TVs, so we'd set up TVs, and then we had some used systems, so we'd link them all together, and we'd sit and play Halo. We'd be like 4 and 4 and 4, and it was 16 player, you know. It was great. It was great, you know, in the store. You know, the lights off, the clothes on, things are down. People couldn't see looking if they really wanted to, but it was so funny. But yeah, we did that, I'd say 2 or 3 times. Then other times we would go to like one of the employees or whatever houses with everybody over or whatever. We order pizza or whatever, and we just set up and play like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. Crazy.
Oh yeah.
But there was one night we actually stayed at the store, and it was like, you know, I was like, oh dude, I gotta open in 2 hours. We gotta clean up.
And that's the thing that's kind of crazy, is that GameStop at the time really, or should say not GameStop, but EB Games, I don't think they cared so much, as long as the store was closed and it was people within the, you know, people within the company that were there. Oh, you got blah blah blah. Okay, that's not a problem. Like, and that's how my boss was, because we would play Halo 2 when that dropped. You know, because, you know, he's like, I can't play, because he was a new father, so he's like, you guys want to play a couple matches of Halo 2? I'm like, what? Don't you? Like, yeah, just, you know, the wife's home. I'm like, okay, yeah, let's play. You know, so
awesome.
Yeah, it was good times.
I'll tell you, I'm right there with you, man. Definitely some good times. Good times. So let's kind of get into first. So where did Psychonauts come from? Where I mean, is it, you know, from the game Psychonauts, or, and how did you, is that your gamer tag? How did that come about, man?
Well, see, like when I first started out on the Xbox, my gamer tag was Grand Sport Killer, because I had a Grand Sport, so I was like, and I like to kill things, so, you know, so that was my gamer tag for the original Xbox. And then when the 360 came out, for some reason, I could not link my gamer tag, my account from the original Xbox to the 360. So I had to start a whole new one.
Oh no.
And actually went by Death Dealer 167.
Wow.
And that was due to that name came about because my brother, he's in the infantry for the army, and his platoon was the Death Dealers when he was stationed in Afghanistan. So that's where that came from. It was the first Regiment, 67th Brigade, and that's where he was stationed. So that's where Death Dealer 167 came. And then the pandemic happened, and I started coming out on, you know, started watching these podcasts and things like that. And I, crazy enough, like me and Dealer talked about it. He didn't care, but but a lot of the people in this chat were like, "You're taking dealers' name," because my name was Dead Dealer. So I was like, "What are you talking
Right.
about?" I was like, "Oh, I get it, because dealers." I'm like, "Dealer Gaming." I'm like, because he used to have Dead Dealer as his gamer tag as well. So I was like, you know what? I was like, I've had that gamer tag since the 360. I was like, let me change it. Let's see. And I've always liked uh, the game Psychonauts, and being Greek, the meaning is like enlightened one. So I'm like,
Nice.
all peace, love kind of thing. So I was like, it kind of fits. So let's use it. And then it kind of it's kind of perfect.
Yeah,
Psychonauts.
it is cool. That's a good name, and everybody knows you now. It's Psychonauts. You can't change it anymore.
Yeah. Well, I was
You're
actually
locked in
thinking,
now.
I was thinking about changing it,
Were
but
you really?
yeah. I was
Oh,
like,
that's so funny.
I was, because I was like, I don't know. Should I keep it Psychonauts? Because every time I go into, because especially when Psychonauts 2 was being announced, my
Mhm.
name, every time they put in chat Psychonauts 2, it would pop up orange tabs for me because they would at Psychonauts. So it's like, it was just funny because the whole chat was like, I'm like, oh, they're not talking about me, they're talking about the game. God damn it.
Oh, that's
So
funny. That's kind of funny. Well, I mean, obviously, well, if you did, you gotta make sure you put, AKA formerly Psychonauts.
yeah, we'll see.
But well, there you go. There you go. Well, for right now, we're gonna push the Psychonauts. I like it. I like it a lot. So I guess let's kind of talk about like some of the current gaming that's going on. I mean, right now with the way things are going, I mean, it's every day it's new stories, new things to talk about, and the acquisition is really, it's seems like it's going to a new level in gaming. And I'm sure you're going to have maybe some opinions about how you think things are going and how you think things are going to maybe end up.
Yeah, so with the whole ABK acquisition, uh, we didn't really know where these regulators are going to be, where their thought processes were going to be at. No one even had an idea
Hmm.
that the CMA was going to be the spokesperson of Sony PlayStation, um, which is very alarming how similar their what they say is reflected of what Sony's been saying. So it's like, okay, no coincidences there. So, uh, but yeah, so when that first broke, uh, I remember in our DMs on Xbox Ultimate, we're like, what? Like, I woke up like, the fuck, are you guys fucking with me? Like and I think Pong and a couple of people like, this can't be true. No, Xbox acquired Activision. No, someone, it might be a company within Activision, and they didn't, so, but sure shit, it was freaking Activision just after the Bethesda announcement. With that
Hmm.
was groundbreaking on itself,
Definitely.
which I mean, talk about uh, an amazing acquisition for Xbox. I mean, they had such growth. They had the first console game on Xbox with Morrowind, which, by the way, is one of my favorite RPGs for the original Xboxes at
Hmm.
that time. Phenomenal. And to see that now they're part of the Xbox studios. I mean, it's kind of, they cultured it to, it's a what are they, organic growth pretty much.
Hmm.
And it's great to see, them part of being Xbox. And now with the uh active uh Activision acquisition, say that 3 times fast.
Yeah,
uh,
exactly.
it's it's just crazy because you never thought that Call of Duty would be home on Xbox. No one thought that. Like, no, because they print money Activision was printing money with the Call of Duties,
Yep.
except for the last one. I did not like Vanguard, by the way. I played
Still made a
halfway
lot of
through
money though. Still
Oh, it
sold a
did,
lot,
but
but not as good as
crazy.
the others. You're right.
It was the least popular game, and it still sell like hotcakes. It's insane.
Crazy.
But yeah, so this Activision acquisition is definitely it's unprecedented because it's the highest rated acquisition ever for gaming. So it's this is new frontier for regulators, and even yeah, Microsoft, their lawyers are able to handle this stuff because they're $2 trillion company, but it's still, I mean, like $70 acquisition in gaming is not heard of. So I get the scrutiny because it's a deal that doesn't happen often,
Right.
and very surprising. Like when the Brazilian uh, findings came out, and the amount of pretty much shut the hell up Sony with what, because they because we all know that Sony went out and were trying to talk to the regulators down in Brazil and said, hey, you know what, Cade, let's try to stop this deal. It's not good for Sony, it's not good for PlayStation or its consumers. And they're pretty much like, no, it's good for consumers, and if pretty much go compete. That's what the nature of the beast is,
Mm-hmm.
And now today that we hear that the CMA is trying to like keep the Call of Duty on PlayStation, and it's like if it goes to Xbox, they're going to keep content off of our platform. And I'm like, are you effing kidding me right now?
Crazy, isn't it?
You guys have been doing that for the last decade or 2 decades
Mm-hmm.
with Call of Duty and keeping content with Zombies First to Play on PS4, Spec Ops, the beta first on PlayStation. It's always content. You're keeping content off of Xbox.
Mm-hmm.
And now they're concerned that Xbox might keep content off of PlayStation when Xbox said they wouldn't.
Right.
They said, we will not do that. We're not like you guys. We won't do that.
Yeah.
And Sony is still saying, no, no, no. They're going to do that because it's like that cheating girlfriend. Hey, I'm going to go out tonight and I'm going to go out with the guys. Well, yeah, right. You're going to go cheat on me. Like she's going to say that you're cheating on her because she's cheating on you. That's
Right.
pretty much the same thing. So it's funny to see them getting upset. And I think I made a tweet. I was like, this is funny. It's like they're doing the same thing. They're saying this is bad while doing the same thing to Xbox right this very second, because
Yeah.
there's content for the new Modern Warfare that is going to be exclusive to PlayStation than from
Mm-hmm.
Xbox. But we don't want that to happen. No, because I said the real fear, it's not keeping content from PlayStation. It's the revenue is going to be not the same once it goes to Xbox, because then people are like, hey, it's on Game Pass, or
Yep.
the first one won't be on Game Pass, but
Right.
it's over here on Xbox. Now everything, all Activision games and Blizzard games and everything else new that comes out of this ABK deal is on Xbox, plus Bethesda and Ninja Theory and Obsidian and
Oh yeah.
Coalition and the just the list goes on of the amount of studios that they have got. People are going to start looking at Xbox and be like, you know what? I might just make Xbox my home console.
Yep.
Yeah. Game Pass is a great value. For $15 a month, I get to play on console. And if they have a good PC, I can play on my PC.
Or
and
your
xCloud.
phone. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep.
And and the fact, like, with like the Logitech G Cloud is a streaming platform. That's it's a niche market, but people that want to not play on their phone but want a device to play on, that's something that they could use.
Yep.
And there's something else that what was it? Jez Corden, he hinted at something's coming that's better
Yeah.
than the Logitech Cloud G.
Yeah.
That
Supposedly a
is,
few days from now is when when
mhm,
that information may drop. We'll see.
yeah,
This will go up on Monday, so maybe by this time, the time it drops, maybe we'll know.
yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. So whatever it is, it's going to be interesting. And that's the
Definitely.
thing. So there's just so many options that people, because of this acquisition deal, people are now looking at Xbox like, like, like I play exclusive PlayStation games on my PS4.
Mhm.
Nothing wrong with that. I
Mm-mm.
play the exclusives there, but Xbox is my main console. The online service is bar none the best. Uh, you can't match. Sony can't match that.
Mm-mm.
Multiplayer games are abundance on Xbox, and most of their games is co-op driven. So a lot of the games, if you want to play with friends, well, guess what? It's on Xbox. It's not PlayStation. I mean,
Mhm.
that's what the Sony's business has been: single player experiences. That's their bread and butter, and that's what that and they fill in that multiplayer experience with Call of Duty, and that's what they're afraid of because they don't want to get out of making those type of games and
Mhm.
start making something that might not be a good game. And that's why we're seeing all these remakes and remasters right now coming out of PlayStation. It's just because right now for me, PlayStation is not the same company as they used to be. They are not the same
Right.
innovating company that we had to Twisted Metals and God of War was all new.
Mhm.
There were so many great games that were on the PlayStation that now it's like, cool, it's a third person over the shoulder single player adventure walking sim. Like
Mhm.
like, cool. Now I can play either as a samurai or I can play as uh, you know, uh, a girl that battles mech
Yeah.
robots,
Yeah. Or an
or
archaeologist.
yeah, exactly. So, or someone
Yep.
walking through the UPS with the Death Stranding.
Yep. Yep.
It's just those games are great. Not dissing them,
Right.
but that's when it's all you have to offer. It's like, what are you guys really pushing over there? Like,
Right.
what are you really, what envelope are you pushing? Like, what games are so, yes, they look stunning,
Mhm.
but past the visuals, some like Last of Us, I didn't get into it, but a lot of people loved it.
Right.
Like me, Ghost of Tsushima was game of the year for me, not
Same
Last of
here. I
Us
love
2.
it.
Ghost of Tsushima was they should have gotten game of the year in 2019. That
It was a
game was that
beautiful
good.
game.
It
Yep.
exact art artistically it was gorgeous. Yes, it was like, third person, but it was how the game was told.
Mhm.
It didn't matter because of how the mechanics and everything was, and it wasn't like the same old
Yeah.
of the other stable of the games in in the stable. So it was a nice difference. And
Yeah.
and those are the games I like.
Yeah. Me too. Me too. Now on on that particular game, did you go the gung ho samurai type thing, or did you play stealth? I played stealth. I'll admit that.
I, I was stealth majority of the time,
Hmm.
unless it was one of those, like, I wanted to kind of have that whole Shogun
Oh yeah,
style,
yeah.
and I just come out and the whole cinematic, like, just before a match. and it's
Mhm.
just like a movie. That was cool. That was setting up the match, which
Mhm.
that was like an interesting way, because that was a cool way to hide a loading screen,
Yeah.
because that's what it was, because they're loading into fighting, and it was just really interesting, and just how you can anticipate their next move, and they so when they do attack, that's when you attack, and then you go, and it's like you don't see that often in a video game. That was
Right.
like movies or animes only. So that's
Yeah.
what really was so intriguing with Ghost of Tsushima.
I agree 100%. I love that game. That's probably by far my favorite PlayStation 5 upgrade and everything, but
Mm,
I really like that game a lot. And it's just, I don't know, to me, the stealth part of it, sneaking around in the bushes and coming out and
mm.
killing and going back in the bushes and be like, where'd he go? I
Yeah,
loved it. It was
and
awesome.
that was the really fun thing, because that was like a lot of games kind of got away from the whole stealth, because
Hmm.
back in early 2000s, uh, up until, I mean, really, the uh, Xbox and 360, because you had Splinter Cell and it's
Oh,
the
yeah.
original Assassin's Creeds were
Hmm.
was very stealth driven,
Yeah.
and even Solid Snake, Metal Gear Solid.
Yep.
So those games were very, sneak and hide, be stealth. It was huge, uh, and it kind of a lot of games got away from that. And to see something that you could either go both, you can go stealth, or you can go gun ho and fight head on. It was just a nice touch, because you can't do that in a lot of other games, stealth wise. They say you can be stealth to a point. You
Right.
know, you're stealth, and then and then you could, because I guess I don't know if I there might be an achievement if you stealth the whole game,
Oh, that'd be
but I don't
cool.
know. I don't
Yeah,
know if
I
that's.
didn't really look for that. The trophy for that, that'd be cool. They get a few trophies in that for sure. Yeah, I love. I don't know why. I enjoy stealth more. And like you said, Splinter Cell to me was one of the first ones that really did a good job of
Mm.
stealth. And I just the lights and stuff and the all the
Oh
things that
yeah.
did in that. I can hardly wait for this remake that they're working on. Gonna
Oh
be,
no.
yeah, it has so much potential with the
It
current level of gaming that we have right now.
Yeah. I mean, like a part of me just hopes it is amazing, but it's Ubisoft, so it's up in the air. Unfortunately, it's
Yeah,
like they're hit and miss. It's
right.
like it's funny because they want to make this MTX freaking like games of a service game,
Yeah.
but it's like they're trying to do it to every game, but it's like, hold on, you have the Division, that is the ultimate games of a service game,
Hmm.
but yet you put no love for it. And it's just recently when they brought the Series X and PS5 updates is when they're like, oh, people still playing this game. Like it got a huge player bump. Like it was so noticeable that they made a
Hmm.
statement and put people back into making content for Division 2, because I love Division,
Yeah.
and it's just like it's like they got to a point and it's like, okay, go on to the next thing. It's like, why? There's you put out one DLC for the sequel. I think the first one had 3, this one had 1, and then now they announced they have Heartlands, which is not a DLC, but it's like a part of the universe but standalone from the game. It's
Hmm.
kind of weird what it's like. I saw a leaked beta gameplay of it the other day, and
Hmm.
I was like, it looked like, remember from the first Division, that survival mode that they had in there,
Yeah.
where it was like snowing, you had to find items, and it was kind of like that, but the main game with missions. So it's like they added little bit of that survival aspect of that mode into the main game, and it just looks really interesting. And it could, if because it's free, which is
Right.
surprising, that it could kind of like elevate them. Like, oh, okay, maybe we should focus on Division and not try
Hmm.
to make a games of service for every single title that we had. Like
Yeah,
Assassin's Creed does not need to be a games of a service. You know what I mean?
I
So
agree with you.
the same thing with, and that's like another thing we're afraid of with Splinter Cell. It's like, please don't just make a single player or with a multiplayer co-op game
Hmm.
or something. Because I remember playing the first one and shooting out the lights and walking over the broken glass, and it makes noise. I was like, what?
Yeah.
What? That was like next gen. That was like next level it was like, oh my god, this was freaking insane. Like, we've never played a game like that. Like, that was insane. And just the takedowns and the whole stealth aspect was
Oh
just
yeah,
phenomenal.
I'm
Just
with you. I remember shooting the fish tank and then like
ah,
sitting and watching it as the water would pour out. But then once it got to the level where the hole was, it would stop, and we're like,
yeah.
it was like real physics, kind of like. But it
Yeah.
was silly as that was. It was still like I gotta watch at least once, kind of thing. So yeah, I'm with you, man. I'm with you. God, games are great, aren't they? I love games.
Oh yeah. They're just so great. They're a great form of relaxation.
Hmm.
Some people want to escape all the hectic craziness that's in their lives. And gaming's a great escape, and it's, as long as it's a healthy moderation, that you don't
Yeah, good point.
escape too much,
Right.
escape reality to the point where you're, neglecting real life things.
Yeah.
That's not a good thing.
I totally agree with that for sure. Well, Psychonauts, let's kind of get into I guess how you got into. We kind of touched on some of the podcasts you were in, but let's start like how did you get into podcasting at all? I mean, what was your first? I want to do that kind of thing, And then of course you have your own show, plus you're on several different shows with Mav and Pong. So let's talk about how you got into that.
So that is a great question. So during the pandemic,
Hmm.
I would listen to podcasts off and on prior to the pandemic, but it wasn't one of those things like I always had time to listen to, because I was come home from work and doing the stuff that I had to do at home.
Hmm.
Take out the garbage for the girl, and
Hmm.
you know do whatever needs to be done around the house, things like that.
Oh.
But when the pandemic hit, and it's like when they were like, yeah, you got to stay home, and we're like, what the fuck? So I was like, all right. So I do what I normally do, when I have free time, get on the Xbox. So I'm gaming, and I'm like, you know what, and it's been a long way. I started my Twitter account back in 2011. So, and I hardly go on there. I had just a couple friends from high school and some, sports things that I would follow, and that was it. And and Xbox, I think. Um, but then when this came out, so I was like, all right, let me look up Xbox and what's going on with gaming. And then I started finding podcasts. So RDX was one of my first podcasts um, that I started listening to on a frequent, and then from there it went to um, Xbox Two, uh, and there were other Xbox Central. Like, I found Boomstick and a couple other guys, but it was RDX where like me and Pong would be in chat together with Lupa. That's how we all three met. was like, "Hey, what's up, Pong?" Because I was in RDX, and then we were in gaming after dark with Noof, and then that that was on Tuesdays, and Wednesdays was gaming beyond the box, and then I believe We Believe Green. So there was just a couple of shows that we would pop up and chat all the time, and so me, Pong, and Lupa were like good friends. And then one afternoon, I saw that Mr. Tushy and Noof were doing the community game night on Saturdays, and I was like, oh, they're playing Titanfall 2, because that was like my all-time favorite shooter. That game
Nice.
to me is one of the best campaigns, one of the best campaigns ever, and that shooter was just phenomenal. So when I saw them, they were playing that, I was like, I'm in it. So it was Mav was in that, and that's how I met Mav. And so it was me, Mav, Noof, and just a whole bunch of people from throughout the community on the UK side, because that's who set it up, was the so it was a lot of the UK's. It was Xbox Pope before being Pope Art. So Xbox Pope and then Evil. So it was all these guys from on the UK side, and we were playing. It was having a great freaking time, and then like I think Mav it was me, Mav, and a couple of the people were sitting there, and we're just bullshitting in the lobby, just talking about the whatever was on our minds. And then I think Mav he mentioned something about he has a podcast. I was like, oh, what's the podcast? I was like, I'd love to listen to it, because I listen to RDX and so on and so forth. So we so I started listening to Fun Speculation, because I think that at that time 3-Bit was just got onto the show. So it was like 3-Bit and Mav and couple and his wife and one or two other guests. I think that wasn't too many people. And then we started playing on Fridays after the show. He would do a community game night too with Halo. I was like, oh, I freaking love Halo. So we started playing Halo, and we started just really like start gaming. Like, so it was like, oh, cool. As we were just connecting, we were just talking, bullshitting, and having a good old time. And then he's like, hey man, if you want a game tomorrow, just hit me up. And we started, and then from there on, we just we're gaming every day, because during the pandemic, what are you gonna do? So here we are. We're just gaming, having a good old time. And then, because this was just around Christmas, and we're like, dude, you guys watch Wonder Woman yet? And they're like, yes. Me, Mav, and 3-Bit were like, yes. I was like, dude, what do you guys think? And me, Mav, and 3-Bit went on, I think, 2.5, 3 hours after we got done gaming of just talking about Wonder Woman and everything else that was going comic book. And Mav was like, dude, we just went almost 3 hours talking about just comic books.
Nice.
He's like, and it felt like we were literally just talking for 15 minutes. He's like, dude, the connection. He's like, dude, that's insane. And then boom, Fun Pop happened. And that's how we started Fun Pop. And that's how I started my podcasting career. Is Mav invited me to be a host on Fun Pop with 3-Bit. So it was the three of us. And that was the first episode was Wonder Woman 84.
Nice. Very cool.
It was the movie that started our career with Fun Pop. So, and then and I think he had me guest on his New Year's show for Xbox Ultimate. That was my debut. And I had no cam. I had no camera. I didn't have anything.
Right.
I just had a headset, and my phone,
Yeah.
and that's what I was using to do podcasts. That's how I started. Was this phone and my headset. That was it. And I was like,
All it
hey,
takes sometimes.
yeah. I mean, it wasn't, and it was decent quality level. So it was, he's like, hey, I don't have any issues. You sound great. So let's. So far, it's good. But I wanted to get a camera and a better mic and have a little bit of a setup for we're gonna do some podcasting. So I was like, why
Mhm.
not? Got nothing going on. We're all of us are waiting in this pandemic for like what's going on. So let's kill our time with something that's fun and enjoyable. And then after that episode with the New Year's, I think it was like 2 or 3 episodes when they were like, Matt was like, dude, I keep forgetting. He's like, but we want you as a panel member on Xbox Ultimate. And I was like, dude, that's fucking awesome. It's like,
That's
thank
nice.
you. It was great because I was a dude in chat like
Right.
months ago. I'm like, now, I'm on a podcast with great people. We
Mhm.
freaking gel so well,
You do.
you
You
know,
really do.
and it's just, because a lot of things have happened since, after the pandemic, real life happened. So
Yep.
some people just, can't be around as often. Like even me sometimes, like I'm like, fuck, dude, I can't do the show tonight. He's like, no problem, man. He's like,
Yeah.
so it's not, but it's we having fun. It's like a family when we get together and we do this, and it's phenomenal. It's just the love and respect that we have for one another. It's like when we say we're family, we're it's not like a punchline, and
Right.
we feel it. It's like we after the podcast, guess what? We're doing we're bushing just like we would be doing in a game chat. So
Yeah.
it's like that's how podcasting really started with the Fun Speculation channel.
Well, I
Like,
tell you, from somebody on the outside looking in, and I've seen a lot of your shows and several of them that you've been on, and like you said, it's like a family. It really is. You guys have a lot of fun. I mean,
mhm.
and then like, and there's obviously sometimes you guys always will joke with each other, but nothing's ever like mean. I mean,
No.
people may go on about how long Pong Soul's outro is, but that's because it's deserved. And I'm just kidding. I love you,
It
Pong.
is.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, no, it is long. No,
It is,
love you, Pong.
but that's the thing, and then with Caitlin and Lady was on there for a while, and then the Lupa was on there. So hopefully we'll hear from something from her soon to get an update. So that would be nice
Yeah.
to hear that. But for now she's in our prayers, and we'll just go with that. But yeah, but like I said, you guys have a great chemistry. You work well together. You feed off each other, and Mav runs a pretty good show. I think
Yes.
he's really good to a ringmaster. To let you guys shine and to bring you in and out as you need it, and always gives everybody the chance to to get their points across, and it works. Like I said, you said it too. You guys are friends. You play together, and it shows. It's not just
Mhm.
like oh, time to log on to do the podcast. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
you're like probably looking forward to it.
Oh yeah, but it's funny sometimes, like because Mav lets us to be who we are
Mm-hmm.
uh, until it gets little spicy. Then he kind of reels in, like, all right, like he tries to divert us from certain things, but sometimes when his wife turns into Fancy, holy shit, watch out,
Yeah.
because she goes left. Oh my god, during the pandemic, some of
Yeah.
our party chats with with when it was Fancy, not Caitlin,
Yeah.
Fancy. Woo! That
Too
was
fun, huh?
spicy topics and
That's
things that she would say. I'm like, what? Mav's just like, oh my god.
Can't take her anywhere. I'm
He's
just
like,
kidding.
well, I'm gonna have to delist this podcast, you know.
That's funny. That's funny.
Yeah,
That's
but
funny.
yeah, it's just great times, you know. It's just, and
Yeah.
that's the thing that we just have so much fun with Pong and 3-bit, and Jasper's a newer, and Jasper
Mhm.
was a community member as well. He was in chat, and he was like, every time we're doing like Halo game nights, he was like in chats spouting off like lore and all this stuff, and we're like, Mav, just invite the fucking guy over, because you know, I
Yeah.
mean, he's in chats, knows
Mhm.
a shit ton about Halo. It's like, bring the kid over, and then he is a kid. He's like 26,
Yeah.
20. Yeah, he's 26. I was like, man, like Pong has 20 years on you, buddy.
That's so funny. That's so funny. But yeah, like I said, you guys all have a good, real good chemistry together. So let's go quick talk about like, so what shows are you on like right now with them, and when can people catch you? When and where can people find you? I guess we're
Yeah,
not wrapping
so
things up quite yet, but I just want to make sure we get that out there.
yeah, Mondays at 10 o'clock p.m. is FSP podcast,
Hmm.
which is Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo news. Lately, it's been heavily PlayStation and Xbox because of the
Yeah.
AB Key deal.
Yep.
Because there's a lot to talk about that when news pops up, guess what? We're going to mention it, you know?
Yep.
And then Fridays at 9 p.m. for Xbox Ultimate with Xbox Ultimate podcast. We can check me out with that with everyone. And I was on another podcast outside of Fun Speculation, but
Hmm.
we all decided to, a lot of things were going on.
Sure.
Lady was on it, and it was me, Lady, our friend Brian, and Mike. And you know, Lady, she was going through stuff, and she couldn't come a couple of nights, and
Hmm.
then Brian, he couldn't come for a couple of the shows. So you're like, you know what? Let's put a hold on the show. So
Right. That happens.
that was Noobs and Pro was the channel, and it was Players of Everything. Masters of None was the actual podcast name.
Wow. That's
Yeah,
cool.
that was a
Uh,
mouthful.
uh,
Um,
and you have your own channel, right?
yes,
Yeah.
yeah,
And so it's the uh, gamer chat podcast, right?
yeah, Gamer Chat podcast. And when during the pandemic, you know, I was streaming a lot of games and everything.
Hmm.
Haven't I was like on the verge of trying to find what I want the show to be, you know.
Hmm. Oh yeah.
And so I was, you know, just doing some research and everything, and life just bitch smacked me and kind of now I had to put that on the side burner for now, because
That's all right.
that takes a lot of time and
It
dedication
does.
that I just don't have that right now to juggle a podcast with real life
Yeah.
and everything else. So
Well, and you got the Monday show and you got the Friday show, so
yeah,
that's
I'm
where people
still
can find you for sure. And those both links, or the links to those that show and the channel will be in the description below, as well as your Twitter. People can, so they can reach out to you on Twitter, like I did. They want to talk to you, or
yeah.
meet up for games and stuff like that. So kind of Psychonauts, as we wrap things up, I do have another question I like to ask everybody, and it can be multiple answers, and and so what game that's not out yet, that's coming out in the future, that everybody's heard of? So no like insider knowledge type thing, but it's something that everybody's heard of.
Okay.
Are you looking forward to the most coming out?
Oh,
And it
there's
can be multiples if you need to. Most people do give me multiples, but that's okay.
So one will have to be Fable.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be good.
Fable, because I have seen stills from artists within um, playground
Mm-hmm.
playground games. That it's public. People can go look at the guy's portfolio. It's in there. But
Mm-hmm.
holy crap, they were gorgeous. And it
That's
just
exciting.
just just the things that we hear from like Matt Booty was like, I really want to show this game off.
Yeah.
Like to see his excitement just speaks volumes. And
Mm-hmm.
they're using the Forza Tech engine that's on the new Forza Tech, new Forza
Mm-hmm.
Motorsport, and that just looks amazing. I can only imagine how amazing this is going to look like. And I know some people's criticism like it's a game company, yeah, but guess what? They have people that are from Naughty Dog and
Mm-hmm.
from Insomniac and uh, Crystal Dynamic for all over that left those and joined the uh, playground games to make this game. There, like there was a thread that I posted of, there was an award winning narrator that is going to be writing for uh, dialogue for this new Fable game, and there was like some high level people from within the industry from other studios that are
Mm-hmm.
now a part of this game. That it is when it just just those nuggets of information got me excited. And then
Yeah.
just recently hearing Matt Booty, how excited he was that he constantly wants to show it off,
Yeah.
just has me like like it's going to be one of those games that is going to take people by surprise because of who made it.
Mm-hmm.
And the, and I guarantee that they're going to capture the essence of what made Fable great,
Yeah.
but different enough to separate it from what that series was. Because
Yeah.
it was little, there was some humor that was, slapstick. It
British
looks,
humor.
yeah, and
Yeah.
well, the Peter Shimmer is fine,
Yeah.
but it's like slapstick and little, uh, uh, not, not childish, but
Yeah. I know what you
it
mean,
was.
though.
This time around, it looks like they're going to have a serious take, but with some lighter notes to it
Yeah.
that makes it feel Fable, but its own entity. So
Yeah.
and I love Lionhead, and it's unfortunate what happened with them. And actually, one of the people that are the producer from the old Fable games from Lionhead is actually is an executive producer for this game. So it's like
Yeah.
the right people are in the key spots, and this
That's
game is going
good.
to
That's
shine.
good. Yeah.
This
Peter
game.
Montague was amazing.
Oh yeah, I
So
love Black and White too, and it's just
same.
he they were great, and this was the old Xbox regime that people need to remember that they didn't do a good job with
Right.
the Xbox brand. They didn't. I mean,
Yeah. Well, even Phil said it was one of the things he wished that I guess he had kind of gotten there before it was, disassembled kind of thing, but
yeah, it was
unfortunately that was
a
kind of
little
beyond
delayed.
his control at that time.
Yeah,
So
because
yeah,
you
but
damn well know he would have kept them or been able to save personnel and
right.
or the studio. He
Mm,
he would have made an effort, but it's just one of those things.
yeah. Uh, so that's a good choice, man. So Fable is your one that you're looking forward to the
Yeah,
most,
and Fable is definitely number one. Um, if I had to pick another one,
and you
um,
can.
it there was just so many. Like
Oh, I know.
I love Hogwarts Legacy that's going to be coming out, and I'm a huge Harry Potter fan. Read the books,
Yeah.
watched the movies. I
Hmm.
watch the movies like all the time, and it's watched them with my kids, and and they're just really fun, great movies and great books that really this game is going to explore outside of the Harry Potter saga and go into more of the wizards and uh, uh, witches, I guess,
Hmm.
within Hogwarts that back in I think the late 1800s, I believe.
Hmm.
And if that is the case, I think from what I read, possibly see I think Voldemort's parents or Voldemort
Ooh.
himself.
Uh,
I have to remember when that time. I think it was if it's a certain time we can see a young Dumbledore, um, like teenage Dumbledore in
hmm.
teenage, and I think it was Voldemort's parents. I think it was Tom Riddle, but
Very
I don't know.
cool.
You'll see.
Oh
We'll
yeah, no,
see.
it's exciting. I'm with you. We just got through watching all of the Potter movies again like last week. We just started one and just went through every single one of them. Finished most of them in a day. It was a Saturday.
Mhm.
We were like, "What are we doing? Let's do this." Okay, so that's
Yeah,
what we did all day.
and
And then I think
the
the
th-
next day we got the last two. So
and the
yeah,
thing
they're
that
great.
that I'm like little upset with Warner Brothers is that they do not put out the extended versions of the movies.
Yeah.
They have the first two they have extended,
Hmm.
but they don't have 3, 4, 5, and 6 and 7 like they do on what is it, the Freeform channel on cable
Yeah.
TV.
Hmm.
All those have the extended copy. Why is it's not on DVD yet? Like I
Yeah.
bought the ultimate Blu-ray editions thinking that they were going to be extended because the first two were
Right.
and they weren't. 3, 4, 5, and 6. Those movies are not extended. I was upset. I was like,
Oh,
"Are you
imagine.
effing kidding me?" I'm like, "Why? Why would you do this?"
Yeah,
So
yeah. One thing to take us full circle would be that I know that's it's a 1 year exclusive, but still there's an exclusive
I know.
area level for the PlayStation 5 or PlayStation
Yeah,
consoles that aren't going
it's
to be able to access for a whole year
yeah,
on
and it's
yeah.
and it wasn't like a small little quest. It's bigger than just a small quest. It's
Right.
like a magic shop within Hogsmeade that you
Yeah.
could add to your little like because you can make your own like home that
Mhm.
you can add that shop into that your little universe, and it's just like hold on, that's like more than a quest. Like
Yeah.
they try to like play it off like, oh, it's nothing. No,
Yeah.
that's pretty big. Like okay, that's a potion shop. That kind of changes the game.
Yep. I agree with you. I'll agree with you. Oh goodness.
Sony
Too
does what
funny.
Sony does best.
Yeah. There you go. There you go. Psychonauts, man, it's been great having you on tonight and talking to you and getting to know you. Thank you so
Thank
much
you, brother.
for your time and for talking to us so candidly and everything. And I hope everybody gets a chance to watch this. And when you do, make sure you guys go down and click on the links below and subscribe to the channels. And not only that, remember it is free to hit the subscribe button. Doesn't cost you a thing. And then there's also the bell icon, so you make sure you don't miss any of the episodes, content that's coming out from all these great providers. And like I said, two of the big shows from Av is got Psychonauts on it, and he's also been a guest on several other shows as well too. And definitely want to make sure that you follow this man and reach out for him on Twitter and everything too, so you'll be able to, because I'm sure he'll post when he's on other shows. You'll be able to follow him there as well. Great insight, great gamer, and a great community member. Psychonauts, Thank you so much for being here, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. It was an honor. It was great. Loved it.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. And of course, everybody can find us at outbreakpodcast.com. That's our website. Or you can, if you're watching on YouTube, then just subscribe to this channel. And if you're listening to us on iTunes or Spotify or iHeartRadio, please give us a follow there. We appreciate that. And thanks again for everybody joining us here at Outbreak Gamers.
Game over.